Hi, I'm Therese Capon. I work here at Lynn Cove Research and Extension Center. Each year we do the annual CTV testing. We have more than 11,000 field trees that we test every year, and we use the direct tissue blot immunoassay method, and I'm just going to give you a real quick overview of how to do it in the field. Here we are at field 21, and the way I know I'm here is I have the field map, which has a compass rose, so I check my directions and I see where I'm at. You always want to start a new block on row 1, tree 1. And it's difficult here at Lynn Cove because some of our blocks are funny and they're laid out strange and they don't all go the same direction. Always start at row 1, tree 1. So I've confirmed here that this is row 1, tree 1. Each one of your maps is going to have an arrow that shows the direction of travel. So we're going to start sampling with this tree here, and we're going to move on down the end of the row. Okay, so this is row 1, tree 1. So I'm going to start my membrane with the number 1 to indicate here. And then I just pick 4 leaves, preferably fresh flush, from 4 different places of the tree. I walk around. I'm looking for flush, I'm looking for flush. There's a nice one. Okay, and then I line these up all nice and neat. Because what I'm going to do now is take a cigar cutter and make a nice clean cut to release that nice juicy phloem that I'm now going to blot onto the membrane. So make your blots, one right after the other, nice and neat. There's one, and you can just discard and throw it on the ground. Right next to it, there's number 2. Three. It takes the right kind of pressure. You'll get the hang of it. The right place to hold your fingers, how tight to grip, how tight to press. You don't want to press too hard because then you'll create a smear like that. For example, I pushed too hard and then the thing kind of collapsed. Well, you're not going to get a nice imprint that way. Okay, so moving on to the next tree then, assuming everything blotted nicely. So I'm picking my 4 nice flush leaves as I walk around. Okay, so we've just finished the last tree in this row. We're going to move to row 2 now. So this is the first tree in row 2, but as you can see from the map, this is row 2, tree 13. Well, when we do our field testing, we walk the rows serpentine. That way you don't have to walk all the way back to start your row the same direction you started. So this is just part of the protocol, and the person who does the membrane processing and analysis knows that. That's why the field map is so important. Okay, so we're going to start with row 2 and head that direction. So the first thing I have to do is mark row 2, which starts right here, right after where I left off with row 1. We're trying to minimize the amount of space that we take up on this membrane. Okay, so we'll pick our nice 4 leaf samples. Here's a good flushing one right here. This is a good example of what you're looking for. Brand new leaf that just flushed. Okay, so we're going to move around the tree and collect our 4. Okay, so we've made it through 14 rows, and we're about halfway through the block, and we're starting here on row 15. So the first thing I'm going to do is mark my 15 where I left off. Save space. And here we go. That's some nice flush there. I'm going to take the whole stalk this time. Okay, next tree. So I just want to explain what to do when you come across a tree that's missing. It should be indicated on your map with one of these dark spots, and indeed we're at row 22 and there's a missing tree. You just skip it and you go on, because the person who's looking at the membranes later on knows to look at the map and knows that there's a missing tree in row 22. So I skip my tree. This would be my first set of blots in row 22. So I mark 22 and then start collecting. So that's the end of the training session, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next year for CTV season. I'm Therese Capon, working here at Lynn Cove Research and Extension Center.